Hello children, welcome to Social Studies digital class. Children, how are you all? So, we have discussed in the previous class about social protest movement. In the class, we have discussed about the various social protest movements that occurred in England, in other parts of the world, and we have also discussed about how the workers were against the industrialization and how they protested against the industrialization. They even damaged so many machineries and they were not willing to modernize themselves or they do not want any more machinery. So, we have also discussed about one such protest movement called Luddism. In this class, we will discuss the other part, that is about the socialism as well as about the capitalism and how the women movements occurred in all over the world. So, let us proceed with the lesson. In the previous class, we have discussed about industrialization, positive and negative effects, early worker movements in England, Luddism, a protest movement. Children, in this class, we will discuss about socialism, development of a new ideology, capitalism and its meaning, the socialist thinkers who supported socialism, socialism in India, women's movements, social protest movements. Luddism was now being suppressed by the government and army. Many of the Luddists were given punishments for following or for protesting in the form of Luddism. So, a new ideology started developing in the nations. So, the new ideology was slowly developing, which would give the workers a new social goal. What was that? It was socialism. What is socialism? The socialism is the political idea that is based on the belief that all people are equal and that money and property should be equally divided. It calls for public ownership rather than private control of property and natural resources. Children, let us study the characteristics of socialism. Under socialism, there will be the government's control over the production, means the private people does not involve in the matter of production. Centralized planning and welfare of the state, means the prices of the products, everything will be decided by the government, and major objective of socialism is the welfare of the state, not profit maximization. And the third characteristic, social control of resources. Whatever the resources such as mineral resources or it can be the forest resources, all those resources will be under the control of the government only. And next one is no concentration of wealth. No concentration of the wealth in the hands of few people. The wealth will be equally divided among all the citizens of the country instead of the wealth being in the hands of few people. And the last one is the equal opportunities to all for growth and development. Everyone will be getting equal opportunities to grow and develop in their lives. It is not like the only few people having the development and the other people are not developing or growing in their life. So, equal opportunities will be provided under socialism to all the people of the country. Socialism opposed the basic idea of capitalism. So, to understand socialism better, you need to understand what is capitalism. So, let us understand what is capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system in which production and means of production are under the control of private people. So, in the socialism, it will be under the control of the government, whereas in capitalism, it is under the control of the private people, production under the control of private people. So, capitalists themselves determine what is to be produced and who is to be given a share of the produce. So, what is to be produced is not decided by the government or by the people or according to the needs and necessities, but the capitalists themselves will decide what they can maximize their profits. So, what is to be produced is decided by the capitalist and to whom the share of this produce should be given. So, that is also decided by the capitalist or the industrialist or the rich men, we can say. Children, in capitalism, resources are distributed unequally. There cannot really be genuine free competition. The rich and the powerful people manage to move the balance in their favor by hook or crook. So, in capitalism, the private people will be always willing to be more profitable and they try to grow in their lives as well as develop in their lives by hook or crook at the cost of the lives of the poor workers and the poor people also. Children, here you can observe the pyramid of capitalist system. If you observe this pyramid carefully, here you can see at the bottom of the pyramid, these are the poor workers and the poor people who are working hard, but they are only able to get the food for their survival. They are not able to enjoy or grow in their life. And these people, as we go up to the pyramid, you can see the people who are at the upper part of the pyramid, they are enjoying luxurious lives at the cost of the hard work of the poor and the poor people and the workers. Children, I hope you have understood this pyramid. So, let us understand in detail about the capitalism and its characteristic. So, capitalist control over the production, means entire control of the production that take place in a country will be decided by the capitalist or the industrialist only, and their major objective is profit maximization. They want to increase their profit as much as possible at any cost. Concentration in the hands of few. So, concentration of power in the hands of few. The power will be in the hands of few people only, the other people will be powerless, the poor workers will be powerless and the rich people will be having more power in their hands, those who are the industrialists, and no equal opportunities will be given to the people. So, these are all the characteristics of the capitalism. So, there are certain socialist thinkers from very long time. So, who have been supporting to the socialism, let us study about them. Some socialist thinkers. Some elements of socialist ideas can be seen in many thinkers down the ages like Plato or Thomas More. So, from down the ages, from many years onwards, there were the socialist thinkers such as Plato and Thomas More. So, these ideas became powerful when they were combined with the ideas of the French Revolution. So, these ideas also became more and more powerful with the ideas of the French Revolution. Okay. Babeuf, a radical thinker, radical in the sense the one who wants to bring complete change in the society. So, he argued that in order to get complete equality, private and common enjoyment of land and its fruits should be abolished. So, what he says is that to bring equality, the private ownership and common enjoyment of the land, it should be abolished, only then the equality could be established in the society. Another early socialist thinker, Saint Simon of France, who advocated for public control of property through central planning. He imagined a society in which scientists, industrialists and engineers would anticipate social needs and make the plans to meet them. So, Simon wants all these people such as scientists, industrialists and engineers work for the social needs of the society. An industrialist named Owen in England was disturbed by the conditions of workers and the wealth of capitalists. He took the initiative for building cooperative villages in which everything would be owned in common and people would work in cooperation with each other and share the products of their labor. So, Owen, he belongs to England, he was disturbed to see the conditions of the workers and he wanted such conditions of the workers to be changed and he wanted these workers to enjoy a better life. So, he wanted all the workers to work in cooperation with each other as well as share their products of their labor. Whatever they have worked hard, they should be able to share all those produce for themselves instead of only few enjoying their fruits of labor and not by themselves. Children, another two important socialists, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. So, they also came up with a new theory of socialism based on the study of working of industrial capitalist production. So, he is Karl Marx, the father of socialism, and he is Friedrich Engels. Children, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels argued that capitalism is both a progressive as well as exploitative system. Why it is progressive and why it is exploitative? It is progressive because it had made possible the industrial transformation of the world. So, with the industrialization and with the capitalism, it has made the transformation of the world. Earlier it was only manual labor, but it has got a lot of transformation in the society. The industrial transformation has taken place in the world and this productive power can fulfill everyone's necessity. This productive power can fulfill all the needs of all the people in the society. Yet it is exploitative because it forces the working class to live the lives of extreme hard work and difficulties. Means the people, the workers, they have to work hard and not just they are able to just survive in their small slums and small houses, but they are also bearing the burden of the entire society and for that they are getting nothing, no fruits of their labor they are able to receive. Marx believed that the production has become an all society affair rather than a matter of one family or a small farm or one village. That is, the production is the matter of the whole society. Marx and Engels believed that workers had no property and were at the same time important for the production to happen. Yet they are exploited so that capitalist system continues to make profit. So, Marx and Engels, they believe that workers are enjoying nothing, the benefits of their hard work, they do not have any property, they do not have any benefits of their labor, but they are very important for the production. Without production, nobody can survive and they are the major cause for the production. But they are exploited, there is no good life given to the workers, they are exploited by the capitalist system at the cost of their hard work only and only to achieve or to make more and more profits. Marx argued that workers should organize themselves and throw out capitalists just like the feudal lords and the kings in the French Revolution. So, what was Marx's ideology? What he says is that workers should organize themselves and they should live in cooperation and they should throw out the capitalist, just like how in the French Revolution the feudal lords and the kings in the French Revolution were thrown out. Workers should take over the state government and establish a workers' state which should own all the factories and land. This state should plan and organize the production in a way that it benefits all the members of the society. So, the workers should take over the state government and establish the workers' state and they should plan and organize the production that the benefits of that production would reach to all the members of the society. Children, the ideas of Marx and Engels made a great impact on radical thinkers and activists at the end of 19th century and inspired many social movements in 20th century. At the same time, many other radical thinkers disagreed with Marx on many issues and they gave the new theories like anarchism. So, at the end what has happened, Marx and Engels, they could make a good impact, a great impact on the radical thinkers, and by the end of 19th century and at the time of 20th century, because of that inspiration many social movements have been started. At the same time, these radicals, some of them will have also disagreed to the Marx theory, and they framed another theory which gave rise to anarchism. What is anarchism? Anarchism, a political theory holding all forms of government authority to be unnecessary and undesirable, and advocating a society based on voluntary cooperation and free association of individuals and groups. Children, now let us study about how socialism had spread its ideas, how socialism started in our country. So, socialism in India. Socialism in India. Socialism came to India from very early days. Swami Vivekananda was himself deeply influenced by the ideas of socialism which were growing in Europe and America, when he visited in those countries. So, socialism had started earlier in the during the time of Vivekananda itself. The socialism had, the ideas of socialism started in our country. So, Russian Communist Revolution in 1917 was the great source of inspiration for Indian nationalists. So, many leaders like M.N. Roy, Bhagat Singh, Jawaharlal Nehru, etc., they were all enthusiastic socialists. Here you can see the picture of Jawaharlal Nehru. As factory production developed in Indian cities too, many leaders organized trade unions among workers. They too were influenced by the ideas of Marxism and went on to found the Communist Party of India in the year 1920. So, factory production developed in our Indian societies and they were influenced with the ideas of Marxism, and the Communist Party was found during that time in the year 1920s onwards. Let us go for the next topic about the women's movements. So, what are women's movements? Women also protested for their rights and they have achieved up to certain extent. So, what were the women movements? Let us understand. Women movements. During medieval and early modern times, women were dominated by men across the world. So, they did not have access to property and civil rights like voting. They were restricted to domestic work like cooking, bringing up children, taking care of elderly at home and assisting men at work. So, what was the major role of women in the earlier days, children? Yes, it was mostly cooking, taking care of the children, taking care of the elderly. So, these were all the most important duties, and sometimes they also used to assist the men at work. So, they were only the duties of women, and there were no voting rights also to women at the earlier times. So, how the position of the women has changed, let us understand. The status of women began to change with industrialization, as many women workers began to be employed in factories in large numbers. With the beginning of industrialization, the capitalist or the industrialist needed many number of workers. So, at that time women were idle in their homes. Not idle means they were involved in their homely works. So, even they were called for the industrial work, and from that time onwards the position of the women began to change. So, as women came out of their houses to work, they developed a new identity of themselves and their role in the society. They began to assert the principle of equality of all human beings, whether they were women or men. So, they, as the women stepped out of the house and they started earning, are getting some amount for themselves, and even their work was being recognized. At that time they started identifying themselves, and they also started protesting for equal rights for men and women. When the French revolutionaries were preparing the Declaration of Rights of Men in 1791, many French women protested against this and drafted a separate declaration of the rights of women. So, in 1791, the men in France, they started one official declaration about the rights of men. So, women also want to have equal rights with that of men. So, they also made one declaration that was equality between men and women. Let us see what is that declaration. It declared, women are born free and remain equal to men in rights. Social distinctions may be based on common utility. All citizens, including women, are equally admissible to all public dignities, offices and employments according to their capacity and with no other distinction than that of their virtues and talents. So, all women are born free and they should be given equal rights with that of men. So, but this particular declaration was not taken till the assembly, and it was not considered as valid up to certain time. The movement for extending the right to vote to all sections of population became stronger from the time of 1830 to 1870. So, right to vote for all sections of the society, despite their caste, religion, gender, everyone has right to vote. So, that protest was started at the time of 1830 to 1870. Then, in countries like England, women came out in large numbers demanding the right to vote. So, they were called as women suffragists. So, women also wanted to contribute their demand along with the other demands. They also wanted to be the part of the equality. So, they went for protesting, they came on the roads and they wanted right to vote. So, they were called as women suffragists. Russian government was the first government to grant such rights to all women in 1917. So, Russian government was the first government in history to grant the right to vote to women in the year 1917. So, the right to vote was extended to some women in England in the year 1918. After Russia, right to vote was given to some women in England in the year 1918 and to all adult women by 1928. After 10 years, that the adult women of England, everyone despite their status, were given right to vote. Gradually, this was accepted by most democratic countries all over the world. Children, as women participated more and more in public matters, they realized that women were treated unequally in most sectors, whether education, health, property rights and or employment. So, when women participated more and more in public matters, they started realizing that it is not just the right to vote has to be achieved, but they are not even equal in the matter of health, education and even other important things. So, they also wanted to fight for those rights also. The first wave of feminism focused on absolute rights such as suffrage, suffrage in the sense the right to vote. The second wave of feminism, it focused on other aspects of equality such as the end to discrimination, that is differences in all aspects of life including education and health. Education, health, status of life, dignity of life, all these were considered as important matters for women and they wanted equality in all these things also. Children, in India also the social reformers struggled to end the practice of sati. Sati in the sense the wife also along with the husband, if he dies, should get burned in the ashes of the funeral pyre. So, that was called as sati. So, that was also abolished, and killing of girl child at birth. If it is girl child, people used to consider girl as a burden on the family. Enforced widowhood for life means if not die, at least they should remain as widow and they should not get remarried. So, that was enforced widowhood for the entire life. So, that was also a practice which was there in our country, and which for what many social reformers fought in the 19th century. They also struggled for modern education to women, and they also wanted women to get educated, only then these all social reforms could be brought. So, they wanted women to get educated, and they wanted the women to get modern education. Women participated in national movements, and leaders like Mahatma Gandhi specially emphasized the importance of women in the movement. So, Mahatma Gandhi supported the social reforms in the life of women. As a result, when India became independent, women were given complete legal equality. So, after independence, women were granted complete legal equality in our country, such as the voting rights and even other important rights to women were given. It also sought to end discriminations against them in property laws, etc. So, the differences in like the distribution of property and even other discriminations were also ended. Even though the legal equality was achieved, women all over the world, including India, still did not have real equality. The new wave of women's empowerment is trying to understand the reasons for this and bring about real and effective equality. Even though in entire world many women and even men also fought for the women's equality, and up to a great extent the success was achieved, but still there are certain, though legal equality is achieved, but still women find themselves as backward. The new wave of women movement is trying to understand the reason for this, and they want to bring the real and effective, not just legal change, but they wanted the change, real change in the life of women. To the end of the class, let us go for the evaluation part. Read the textbook carefully and try to answer these questions. The first question is, in what way did Marx's socialism disagree with Luddism? The second question is, write the differences between socialism and capitalism. This we have discussed in the earlier part of this lesson, and you need to write the differences between the socialism and capitalism. Children, the third question is, mark the following places on the outline map of the world. The first one is USA, and the next England, France, Germany, Italy, India, China and Russia. So, in all these places the social protest movements have been taken place. So, you need to identify all these places and mark them on the outline map of the world. The fourth question is, write a few sentences about women movements in the world and in India. So, I hope you will complete this evaluation part. Children, read the textbook. Textbook reading is very important, and discuss this lesson with your friends, as well as you can ask the doubts to your teachers. For understanding of the concepts, solve the worksheets. Please visit the official site of SIET for the worksheets. Children, with this I would like to take the leave and hope that you have understood the lesson in a better way. Thank you, children.